Welcome to Houston Sports Talk with your host, Robert Land.
Thanks for checking into the best Houston sports podcast, part of the National Bleav Network. And joining me is a brand new guest, Rockets Analyst Bryson. You know him as Red Nation Blogga. Check out his YouTube channel and find him on X at Red Nation Blogga. Great to connect with you. And hey, how far do you go back now with the Rockets? When did you join Red Nation?
It happened September 28th, 1991, the day I was born. I was born into this. I don't believe in being from a city and having a team that in a state that you've never been in. You know, that's just how I am. So just like you got the Texans, the Astros, the Rockets behind you, that's how I am as well. Rockets, Texans, and Astros is behind me, but the logo is blocked off. But that's how I am as well. So I'm from Houston. I love Houston, and I love Houston sports. So that's how far back I go.
That's what I love to hear. I mean, I grew up where, you know, you rooted for your hometown team, and that's kind of the way it was no matter what sport. So that's really cool. And, you know, we're just 22 games left in this Rockets regular season. That means we're basically at the 3-quarter mark. I mean, like 3 quarters into the next game or something like that is the official 3-quarter mark. Let's throw out our Rockets awards at this point. And I'll start off with the Offensive Player of the Year. Who is the Rockets Offensive Player of the Year? And honestly, this is like picking the tallest of the 7 dwarfs because offense is not this team's deal.
Not at all. Not at all. For me, I would say my Offensive Player of the Year for the Houston Rockets, it's a guy that, for anybody that watches my channel, I have been very critical of. But I'm going to go with Jalen Green. 22 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He does have an issue with turnovers. His turnovers just made me sick to my stomach. But I see him turning a corner scoring wise, and we're starting to see less of the 16-point nights on 17, 18 shots, Jalen Green. We're starting to see those games go away further and further. He's starting to become more efficient, more reliable, more timely as a scorer. You cannot ask for much more from a 22-year-old, 23-year-old now shooting guard that's, you know, in his 4th year in the league. So Jalen Green would be my pick. I feel like yours might be different, though.
I'm kind of thinking Şengün just because you add to his points the shot creation with his assist. And that's really, I mean, I don't know what you think. It's the one thing that I was hoping to see this year from Jalen, besides his efficiency go up. I wanted to see some more shot creation from him because that's where you get from, hey, maybe you're really good, maybe top 30, 40 guy. That turns you into an all-star, I believe.
I figured you would say Şengün. I think that the problem I have with Şengün this year as to why I wouldn't have him as the best offensive player, he took a step back finishing at the rim.
Sure.
And last season, to start the season and pretty much consistently throughout the season, he showed remnants of a face-up mid-range game. Like he had that, you know, flamingo shot that he liked to shoot, and that was going down at a reliable clip for his position and for him to be a year 3 center. And it seems like all of that now has regressed. His 3-ball hasn't improved. His mid-range has seemed to regress as well as his finishing in the first quarter, first half of games. And then, you know, he cleans it up in the second half. But yeah, that's the only reason I'm kind of knocking him, because I feel like he took a step back a little bit this year offensively, even though he is passing more.
No, I agree. And I don't think there's really a clear offensive guy, but if somebody wants to say Jalen, if somebody wants to say Şengün, either one of those guys seem to be the answer, but I don't know which one. And, you know, the easiest award I'm going to hand out, Defensive Player of the Year, Reed Shepherd. Take a step back for a second. Don't bother getting up. You got to have this in a 1-word answer. What's the 1 word?
Obviously, it's I'm in.
Yes.
I think it's clearly him. I mean, out of everybody on this team, out of all the young players that we have, for me, I feel like he's the most inclined to become a superstar. Like you see the flashes, and even times where he has a bad night or he maybe doesn't make the right decision, I have to remind myself, this dude is in year 2. He's not even done with his second season yet, and he's already showing these type of flashes. So I think that with Amen Thompson defensively, the way that he guards, the way that he could be a rim protector, the athleticism, the wingspan, his ability to defend at the point of attack, he's elite to me. I mean, like you said, there's 1-word answer.
Yeah, no question about it. Who's the Rockets MVP? And was this a tough decision at all? Did you have to think about this much?
No, I think I might shock you. Iman Thompson is the MVP for me. The way that earlier to start this season, he came off the bench so much so him and Tari was causing so much havoc. They got the nickname the Terror Twins. Jabari goes down. He falls into the starting lineup. Now he's never given that spot back to Jabari Smith Jr. How he unlocked the team, how well he played in the month of January alongside, Fred and Jalen and Sengun and stuff like that. But as well as he played in January, I feel like what he brings to this team, you cannot copy it. You cannot imitate it at all. And that's why I feel like he's the MVP.
No question. Şengün's the all-star, but I'm judging impact on winning. And the guy who's had that impact is him. He's likely an NBA all-defensive NBA team player. He was the best six man when he was doing that. Replaced your injured power forward, replaced your injured point guard. Is a rim protector, a one-man fast break, a shot creator, the most efficient scorer, 60.7% true shooting, leads the team in steals and blocks, tied for the team lead in triple doubles. I'd also say between Amen, Jalen, and Şengün, he's probably had the fewest off nights. I mean, we're coming off kind of an off night for him on Saturday, but yeah, I agree with you. This is an easy choice.
The stats that you just ran off, chef's kiss. Like, if there's any doubt, if anybody has any other opinion, it's hard to deny the facts that you just laid out. Just without the stats, like I just could tell just with the eye test. But when you lay out the stats to support that, beautiful. So yeah, that we both got the same answer on that one.
Yeah, you guys will tell me in the comments too why we're wrong, but yeah, I think this is kind of unanimous. It should be for Rockets fans that have watched these games closely. And I'll also say that if you gave out an award for most improved Rockets player, Amen also wins that award. In fact,
oh my gosh, yeah.
In fact, you can say the most improving player, not just the most improved player, but the most improving, because it's just, I was talking about it the other day with Brado. It's just nonstop. I mean, every game he adds another. What is he doing now?
Exactly.
Yeah, just good stuff. And I'm going to throw out a couple of sort of unique awards, kind of make it fun here. Who do you give the award for Stay Ready Crew Veteran? The candidates, of course, Jay Sean, Steven Adams, Aaron Holiday, Jeff Green, and Jock Landale. This was tough, but I tell you what, Bryce, I'm taking Jeff Green. Even though we don't see him much, he doesn't have bad games. He just rocks. You put him in there and, he could have not played for 20 games and he just comes in and makes all the right plays.
Jeff Green is a good name. I like that name. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I will say for me personally, it's Jay Sean Tate. I think that what he provides when Tari Eason misses the games that he misses, or Amen, or whatever the case may be, the ability for him to come in, play defense, and kind of, he's not excellent offensively whatsoever, but he can contribute. Most nights, some nights he does have bad nights. There was a game recently, I can't remember the team, where he had like probably the worst game I saw from him this season. But I think Jay Sean Tate, just on a nightly basis, staying ready, especially with Tari missing back-to-backs and stuff like that, he has the award for me. But I do like Jeff Green because, like you said, he can go 20, 25 games and come in and give you 11 and 5, so that's quality stuff.
There's a couple different guys I'm sure people would put out there, and Steven Adams, his impact in a lot of these games is incredible. It's just for the first couple of months of the season, I thought, he was struggling because of the injury. And so that's kind of took him out a little bit for me, but you can say, well, then Jeff Green barely played until recently. So I think there's a lot of different arguments. And Aaron Holiday, I think is, he has games where he can sort of get you a ton of offense and really help you out. So yeah, before we roll on, I just want to remind everybody, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? And we're going to hit the favorite win of the season coming up, but let me know in the YouTube comments. Earlier this week, I talked Rockets with Brado. I know you had him on the show recently too. So go check out Red Nation Blogga's conversation. Go check out my conversation as well with St. Louis Cardinal insider Matt Polly, who joined me from spring training with the latest on potential Astro Nolan Arenado Tuesday. Locked On Astros, Brett Chansey joins me coming up this Tuesday. You can support us and get updates on our content by subscribing on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up as well. Listen in the car or while you're out and about with your favorite podcast app. All right, Bryce, how about your favorite win of the season? What was your favorite win of the season? Lots of great ones to choose from. This was tough for me.
For me, it was tough because I've seen some great games this season, but I'm gonna say the game that I personally was at the Toyota Center for was the Oklahoma City Thunder win. The win when Fred VanVleet hit that long three, and then the Rockets got into the scrum. Dylan Brooks and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got into that scrum for the ball, all in fun, all for the love of competition. For me, that's my favorite win of the season, just because the stakes and this team showing you a little peek of behind the curtain of what the future is going to entail. You know what I'm saying? And to see everybody in that game kind of contribute and be happy about the outcome of that game and being in that atmosphere, felt like a playoff game inside the arena. That's definitely my favorite win of the season for sure.
Good one. The signature wins that I thought of was, you mentioned that one, but also the Warriors NBA Cup win, the win in Cleveland, the win in Boston. For me, I needed like a shot to sort of separate them. And the Warriors game, it was too ugly. As much as I liked the Cavs win, beating the defending champs in Boston on Amen's last second shot was the sweetest. Extra impressive, coming off back-to-back wins against the Cavs too. I mean, it's not just they won that game. It's like, hey, we just beat the Cavs again, and now to go to Boston and beat the defending champs on the last second shot. That was amazing.
I watched that game with Brado on playback, and that game we were all just ecstatic. And that was one of the games really where I really felt like Amen Thompson is the future superstar and face of the Houston Rockets for sure. I came away from that game with that opinion.
Yeah, we are going to continue to give love to Amen as the show goes along, because it's more and more amazing with each and every game. And let's move on from the awards for a little bit, because I mean, that's another question. You've had Amen in the starting lineup. The buzz this week, Udoka's new official starting lineup. Of course, then VanVleet twists his ankle in the first minute of the first game back. Now he's out Monday, probably Tuesday as well. By the way, the injury report Monday, oh my God, everybody's questionable. Besides Tari and Adams, who are always in injury management in these back-to-backs. You got Sengun, Dillon, and Amen are all questionable. I can't imagine all these guys are going to be out, but let's forget all that. Pretend everybody's healthy right now, Bryce. Udoka says Amen starts, Jabari comes off the bench. Is he getting this right? And if not, who should start?
I think Ime Udoka is getting it 100% right. I like the current starting lineup when everybody's healthy: Fred, Jalen, Dillon, Amen, and Sengun. I like that lineup offensively. I think that was a lineup offensively pretty much that whole run of January when they beat Boston and Cleveland, et cetera, et cetera. But I like it. I think Jabari Smith Jr. is fine coming off the bench. I think it gives Houston, when Ime uses them right and his rotations right, I think it gives Houston another dynamic with their big men off the bench. You have another versatile big. So if you want to play five out with Jabari at the 5, you can do that. You can also play Steven Adams with Jabari Smith. You can play Jock Landale with Jabari Smith. Like, you can do multiple things with multiple lineups. And I think that was the versatility that Houston was missing. But of course, I think Ime sometimes drops the ball in how he puts these centers together and what he decides to do. But I like Jabari Smith coming off the bench, and I'm fine with him continually doing that as we go forward.
This is tough for me because, I see the benefit in Dillon. He's somebody that has shot the ball from outside and gives you actually that perimeter stuff. And Jabari, we keep hoping is going to get up to 40%. Well, Dillon is at around 40% from 3 this year. There was a stat that I saw thrown out there by Brado that said Sengun with Jabari has a 103.4 defensive rating. Sengun without Jabari has a 113.4 defensive net rating. So, like, the defense is what this team should lean into. Now, I want to dispel one thing real quick. Sengun, everybody blames, without Jabari, he's just not been the same defensively. Well, Jabari, he's not a weak side rim protector like that. We know that. I mean, Amen's more likely to come over the weak side and help out. And there's this theory that, the Rockets defense got worse once Jabari got hurt and Amen stepped into the starting lineup, somehow Jabari was the key to the whole thing. Now, I will say, I agree with those that think Jabari helps your rebounding. And that's one of my things with, you can talk about how good Dillon is a defender all you want to, but the rebounding is an absolute issue with him because part of defense is rebounding and he just doesn't do it, whereas Jabari does. So I would consider starting Tari or Jabari personally, and I would probably go with them just because I feel like they're the future. And that Rockets obviously didn't care about winning this year because they didn't go out and make trades to help them this year. And offensively, it's going to be a problem come the playoffs. I mean, Udoka could try to convince himself and convince us that they could still win the whole championship this year, but he knows, they know. Yeah. So if that's the case, then we should be thinking about the future. Now, I don't know if that hurts Dylan's feelings because he's a vet or whatever, but I just want to blow up the whole idea also that Amen's the reason. I don't believe Jabari is the reason why the defense has struggled as it has the last couple of months. I think the reason is Şengün's just gotten worse. He did the first 2 months, and he was the intensity was so high for him, and he hasn't done this for a whole year. Play the kind of defense with the intensity, and you're seeing it on the offensive end where he slipped, and on the defensive end after 2 months. He just can't do it night in. He has those nights where he looks really good. We saw it the other night against Minnesota. I thought he played a really good game defensively, but that's part of it. I think Dylan can't do it as a 30-plus minute a game guy. Really, I think that's another reason why I sort of lean towards, you could convince me to have Tari in, but if you want the consistency because Tari, can't play back-to-backs and you're load managing Tari, then I'm fine with putting Jabari in the starting lineup. You can bring Dylan in really quick after a few minutes. They've done that with Amen. They've done that with Tari during the season. But I just believe like Dylan needs his load backed off because I just don't think he can do it 30 plus minutes a night with the intensity that he likes to play. And I just feel like Jabari the future is probably Jabari or Tari in the starting lineup. And right now Jabari's the one that you can count on a night-to-night basis. So I would say, put Jabari in there. You might risk being a little bit worse offensively, but they're terrible offensively anyway. Why not just lean 100% into like you're great at one thing when you put the right guys on the court, and let's lean into that one thing and let's put Jabari out there, and hopefully he'll start hitting shots again. But I mean, that's the way am I crazy for saying that?
No, it's your perspective. I like that you put in the caveat that Jabari missing time isn't an indictment on Amen. It's the defense because it affected the Houston Rockets defensive rating or whatever during that stretch, and you kind of put some accountability on Alper Sengun. That's completely fine with me. For me, I really hold on to the month of January. And I see how the Houston was playing with the 3-guard system Amen is a wing, but he could do guard things with Fred, Jalen, and Amen. And I think that, yes, Dylan has rebounding problems. And I also think sometimes his defensive motor and his IQ isn't where it needs to be a lot of the times. But I don't think that Dylan has necessarily done anything to get removed from the starting lineup. However, I will say the minutes is what's important. If you want to start Dylan for the first 4 minutes and then bring Jabari off the bench and let him play the last 8, that can be done where you would get the lineups that you would like to see and the defense that you would like to see and get stuff going. But like I said, I'm not opposed to anything. To answer the question, Jabari is fine coming off the bench for me. I think it will help us in the long run because of the defensive versatility, but I'm also not mad at the answer that you gave for sure because, it was informative.
Your gut feeling on this, and I don't know if any of us know, but this depends on Tari's health. But who do you trust going forward, Tari or Jabari? Who's going to be the better player between those two guys, do you think?
That's a tough question. I'm not gonna lie to you. If health is not an issue, I'm going with Tari Eason. I like Tari Eason. I think he's a dog. I like the way that he defends. He can handle. He's shown shades of a mid-range jumper being there where he could create his own shot consistently. He showed it a lot in the first half of the season. Since then, his mid-range shot has since he got back from that long injury absence, his mid-range shot has been completely gone. But I think Tari Eason can definitely reach a level that we didn't expect him to reach over Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith, to me, has a lot of limitations offensively.
I've talked about IQ for a couple of years now with these guys. Udoka brought it up in a press conference. IQ is an issue. I know I've heard people out there, oh, look at Tari, look at his, he does dumb stuff. And you could say that really about every one of the Rockets. But I think the difference for me with Tari, when he does dumb stuff, I look at how many great plays you do compared to how many bad plays you do. And I just feel like Tari makes things happen more than Jabari. There's just plays that he
Yes.
makes that nobody is out there making. And the one thing with Tari is, and I'm not saying any of these guys are particularly, it's an effort issue, but man, I've seen Tari since the moment they drafted him. There is not a second on the court. That guy's not just giving 100%. He's giving you more than 100% out there. And so that part to me sort of makes up for some of the other stuff. Now, if you get a player out there that's obviously like, we got to play him over Tari, and this is assuming, like we said, assuming health and everything. If you get a player out there that's like, oh, he's not going to make those type of mistakes, like specifically in the fourth quarter, hey, that's fine with me. He's out on the floor ahead of Tari. But like for now, I'm like, Tari, among the guys that we've got, I love him out on the court, especially late in games. You know, he had the foul against Cleveland late in that game, but I think he's going to figure some of this stuff out.
Sure.
We still have to remember, and I think people forget this, because Tari missed so many games last year and he's missed some games this year. Really, this is still his second year. This would be as far as number of games is concerned, this is actually his second year. This is like Cam Whitmore, you know, being where Cam Whitmore is sort of. That's kind of where he is as far as games played. So, you know, I just feel like, you know, Tari, we got to give him, I know he came in with more experience and he was a little bit older when he came into the NBA, but still, you know, learning the NBA, no matter when you come in, what age, there's still a curve, you know, and that's why I really love Tari a lot.
You hit the nail on the head with Tari Eason. I felt that way. I see it with him. I see the all-star potential there. Jabari, I sound like a broken record. I say this so much on my channel. Like offensively, he's just like very robotic, like 1, 2, 3, shoot, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of fluidity in his movement. And for me, if you're a player like that, and he's very similar to Klay Thompson, if you're a player like that, you have to shoot 43, 44% from three. You have to shoot 39, 40, 41% from three to make up for the fact that you're not the best dribbler, to make up for the fact that you're not the most athletic, like you don't have the best downhill speed. You have to knock your shots down. Unless Jabari hits that type of peak or that type of run, Tari is definitely the better prospect, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, you know, they got to start thinking about extensions for those two guys this summer. They can wait it out. You know, I'm of the opinion usually on this kind of deal, if it's not an obvious, like give the guy a full max because he's a superstar, hey, let's let this thing go into restricted free agency, and, you know, we'll match offers unless you give us a deal that we really love to start with. So with both of those guys, I think they're just kind of, you know, maybe $20 to $25 million a year, you know, at best going into this stuff. You know, we'll see what happens with that. Let's go to, you know, we talk about playoffs. This team, they're going to be there. They're not facing the Thunder in the first round. We know that. Probably not. I mean, I don't think they're getting down to the 8th seed. So which team or team of the rest of the field, we got about, you know, everybody, 9 teams you can pick from. Which team or team can the Rockets beat in the playoffs, do you think?
I have 3 teams written down. I think they could beat the Memphis Grizzlies. I think that they could beat the Los Angeles Clippers, and I think that they could beat the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know if everybody will agree. Some people may call me insane. I just look at the matchups and how we match up against the Los Angeles Clippers, how the Houston Rockets match up against the Dallas Mavericks, and, of course, the Memphis Grizzlies. Against Dallas, I may have had reservations, but when Ime showed the ability or the willingness to play Sengun at the 4, Steven Adams at the 5, and it completely neutralized their offense and slowed them down, I think that could be a joker or a wild card that Ime holds in his deck that may come to fruition in the postseason. Memphis, I think that they've just owned them in the regular season series. Even the last win, Memphis got out by the skin of their teeth with that W. So I think that Houston just matches up really well with Memphis. And the Clippers, combined with James Harden's age, Kawhi Leonard's age, and you never know if he's going to be able to make it out of a series, I think that's probably like our most favorable matchup in the postseason.
Now, we didn't look all that great against all that size with Dallas, but who knows who's healthy. So you could just say, well, I don't know who's going to be ready to go. And bigs that get hurt and then they have to come back, bigs take a lot longer to get revved up. And they got Lively, Gafford, and
AD.
AD hurt all right now. And then they've got one go-to guy offensively. I mean, AD's a go-to guy, but one guy with the ball in his hand. And I Believe, yeah, I can see the Rockets handling Kyrie. Of those three teams, they scare me the most. The Clippers don't scare me at all.
Right.
Yeah, I want them. If that'd be my number one on the board. And
I think that's how it's going to end. The Rockets Clippers. I think that's what it's going to be.
I don't know. The Clippers are. They could start. There's a potential for them to fall some, and I don't know if the Rockets can get back up to 2. The Rockets. I'd be happy if they played the Clippers because that would mean the Rockets are probably at least at 3 as a 3 seed.
I think they're gonna finish 3. I think Houston's gonna finish 3, in my opinion.
But they got to get it going again. I mean, this is they can't. They've been playing. They're pretty much a 500 or so team in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and everybody assumed, it's going to get all fixed when Fred came back. And now we don't know what's going on with Fred and, Jabari's going to help, but this is a team wide issue that they're having. And it's not usually one guy's not a fix. Obviously Fred, I think, is the biggest of those two guys, but really, I mean, those seem like the 3. Pretty much everybody else scares me. The Kings are a 10 seed. They scare you.
I don't want to see the Kings. Yeah, I don't want to see the Kings. I'm tired of the Kings, man.
Should be interesting to see how this sort of plays out the next. I mean, there's not a lot of games left. So, like I said, I don't think they're going to drop into 6. Definitely not going to drop out of. I don't think they're going to drop out of the top 6 unless something really disastrous happens from here on out. But yeah, they definitely they got to get it in gear. And I would love if they played the Clippers or the Grizzlies would be fantastic. And I think the Grizzlies might be the most realistic because I could see the Rockets being 4-5 and the Grizz being 4-5. So there's potential there. Also, sort of trying to ask this to some of my guests because I just kind of think this is a fun question for everybody out there. If you could go back in a time machine, you've been a Rockets fan for so many years now. If you could go back and see any Rockets game in history in person, be there in the building, which game would you see?
It's easily going to be the first championship, 1994, New York Knicks, Game 7. It's easily going to be that first championship experience in that because, I mean, it's the first championship in this franchise's history. When that was going on, I was a baby, didn't know what was going on. So, but 1994 Game 7 NBA Finals, that's my final answer, easily.
Was there any question for you? Is it as far as Game 6 or because Game 6 Starks, and that was the more, fun. Yeah. It might be, but the Game 7, you get to see everybody celebrating.
I get to see the trophy hoist and everything like that for sure.
You want to see the trophy and all. That's what you want to see.
Yeah. For me, what would it be for you? I mean, I don't know if you said this before, but I want to know, what would it be for you?
That's probably got to be it. I just, because I was rooting for them going back to Calvin and Moses and all that. So
wow,
it wasn't just the fact that they finally won a championship because, they had gone to the finals a couple of times. I remember the Moses and Calvin final in 81 and the Celtics and Rockets in 86. And, just to finally win the Rockets' first championship. But not only that, I want to be there around those fans because they had been waiting for I was one of them, been waiting for so long. We had gone through so much at that point. You'd gone through the 80 and 86 Astros that had played 2 of the greatest baseball LCSs you'd ever seen. They had the just tragic 16-inning game against the Mets that they lost in 86. And then they were up 2-0 and a best of 5 against the Phillies. They were up 5-2 in Game 5, the deciding game in the 7th inning with Nolan Ryan on the hill. And you're like, how could they lose? And then you had Akeem and the 5-slam Majama and, the 2 finals. And of course the NC State thing, which everybody that was my age was in tears, watching that and that devastation. And then the Oilers, year after year after year was just, they would choke or, back in the Love You Blue area, they just ran into the juggernaut Steelers. So, it's just been fun to be around that fan base and, and get to, the cool thing is you get to enjoy a game that they're going to win. You don't have to go through the stress of it. They're going to win it.
Exactly. I agree with you, man, 100%. If I had to say another game, it would definitely be 95 finals because game 4 on the sweep was in Houston, I'm sure, because Orlando had the better record. So the last 2 were in Houston.
Right.
And Houston going out there, going on Richmond and partying with everybody. That was really what I want to be there for, like the championship celebration and the party afterwards, how the city of Houston is, because, I was older, obviously, when the Astros won the first one, and I saw how the city came together. And like, that's what I love about sports. And that's what I love about teams winning the championship. The atmosphere, it brings people together, cultures, all that. That's what I love. So that's why I would want to experience that for sure. Absolutely.
Do you go back and watch those games a lot?
No,
you don't.
I don't get joy out of it, to be honest with you. Like, if I'm gonna go back and watch a game, it'll be from like the Harden era, because that was like when I was really locked in, or maybe go back and rewatch like the Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming era to see like what was the flaw about that team and how I still saw it back when I was in middle school or high school. Do I still see it now? Do I still see the flaw now? So that would be what I would look back on.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, man, it's good stuff. He's at Red Nation Blogga. Go check out the YouTube channel. Anything else that you want to plug?
Really, just follow me on all socials, please, and subscribe, comment, just rock with me. I do all Houston Rockets stuff, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for bringing me on, bro.
Thanks for doing it. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.
Hey, don't forget to support us by subscribing and commenting on YouTube. You can always listen to us on Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast app. Tell your friends about us and share our show links on social media. Spread the word, everybody. Thanks for listening.